Yurei, the spirits of the dead, often return to the world of the living, appearing as they looked in life. Yurei usually have no fixed form, and most people can't see them with the naked eye. Only certain individuals, such as the deceased relatives, their enemies, or those born with spiritual sight, are able to catch a glimpse of their presence. There are many types of Yurei, but the most terrifying among them are those who died filled with deep resentment and strong grudges. These are known as Onryo, vengeful spirits. Even in modern times, the image of Onryo continues to haunt popular culture. Characters like Sadako and Kayako are among the most well-known modern Onryo. They brought the terrifying elements of traditional vengeful spirits into film and television, leaving countless viewers sleepless at night. Have you ever seen a Yurei with your own eyes? Feel free to leave a comment and share your experience. And if you have, we'd love to hear your story. Long before that, in ancient Japan, there were 4 vengeful spirits whose legends became the most infamous. They are known as the 4 Great Onryo: Sugawara no Michizane, Taira no Masakado, Prince Sawara, and Emperor Sutoku. Their stories deeply influenced Japanese history and culture, and they remain iconic symbols of revengeful spirits even today. In today's video, we'll take a closer look at the tales of the 4 Great Onryo, as well as the Yurei and Yokai legends associated with them. I'm Mr. Yao, and welcome to the Leyenda Yokai channel. Here, I explore famous yokai and urban legends. If you're into these topics, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out on future videos. Among all types of spirits, Onryo are undoubtedly the most terrifying. These are the ghosts of individuals who died consumed by intense jealousy, anger, or hatred, unable to find peace. Their souls transform into powerful and wrathful entities, relentlessly seeking vengeance against those who wronged or harmed them. Onryo are often victims of war, disasters, betrayal, murder, or suicide. They typically bear visible wounds or marks that reveal the manner of their death. Their motives are always the same: revenge. These spirits are so powerful that they can easily take a life. However, they often prefer to inflict prolonged torment on their enemies, forcing them to endure the pain of watching their loved ones suffer and die in their place. Onryo unleash a devastating curse upon the people or places they haunt. A curse so potent it spreads like a contagion, leaving a trail of death and destruction far surpassing that of ordinary ghosts. Unlike other spirits, Onryo make no distinction in their victims. Their sole desire is to destroy indiscriminately. Furthermore, their vengeance is insatiable. While most Yurei cease their hauntings once they are exorcised or appeased, an Onryo's relentless grudge curse lingers, continuing to plague a location long after the spirit itself has been put to rest. In the legends of Onryo, the most famous are the 4 Great Onryo of ancient Japan: Sugawara no Michizane, Taira no Masakado, Prince Sawara, and Emperor Sutoku. Among them, Emperor Sutoku is often regarded as the most powerful Onryo. I previously created a video about the Great Tengu, which included the story of Emperor Sutoku. Another renowned Onryo is Taira no Masakado, a significant historical figure from Japan's mid-Heian period. He is famous for openly rebelling against the Kyoto imperial court and proclaiming himself the new emperor. Taira no Masakado was a descendant of Emperor Kanmu and was born into a noble family in the provinces. His father, Taira no Yoshimasa, served as the governor-general of Mutsu. From an early age, Masakado exhibited a resolute and defiant nature. He had a tense relationship with his cousin, Taira no Sardamori. Despite their similar temperaments, the two frequently clashed over family interests. Masakado possessed two extraordinary abilities: the art of creating duplicates of himself, the Bunshin no Jutsu, and the impenetrable Golden Bell Shield, Kinchozo. These remarkable skills were bestowed upon him by none other than his mother. According to the ancient text Kojiden, Masakado's mother was not human, but a great serpent that had resided in the Soma district of Shimosa province for many years. In Japanese folklore, great serpents are often associated with dragons, leading to another theory that Masakado's mother was the manifestation of a dragon deity. 3 days after Masakado's birth, his mother reverted to her original serpent form under the cover of night and used her tongue to lick his entire body by coating him with her saliva. She infused Masakado with her mystical power, granting him a body as tough as steel. However, she missed one spot: the space between his eyebrows. This untouched area became Masakado's sole weak point. Masakado was known for his fiery, unrestrained personality. He was fearless, showing no reverence for gods or spirits. Due to disputes over land and power, Masakado frequently clashed with family members and local warlords. One notable conflict arose within his own family, leading to a war against the Minamoto clan. In this conflict, Masakado killed his uncle, triggering even greater strife. Although subsequent family-led coalitions failed to defeat Masakado, they pushed him to establish his own power base in the region. In 939, Masakado officially raised his banner in rebellion. He swiftly captured the provincial capitals of Hitachi, Shimizuke, and Kozuke, seizing government seals and taking provincial governors captive. Following his string of victories, he declared himself the new emperor, aiming to establish a regime independent of the Kyoto court. This bold act of defiance alarmed the imperial government, prompting them to dispatch troops to suppress his rebellion. The final battle took place at Mount Kita, where Masakado faced the combined forces of his cousin Taira no Satomori and Fujiwara no Hidesato. Satomori devised a strategy to counter Masakado's Bunshin no Jutsu. Exploiting the fatal vulnerability on Masakado's brow, the Allied forces launched a relentless assault. Masakado was ultimately struck by a volley of arrows, directly hitting his weak spot, and perished on the battlefield. After his death, Satomori beheaded Masakado and sent his severed head to Kyoto as a public display. This marked the end of the short-lived Masakado rebellion. But Masakado's story lived on, becoming a timeless legend in Japanese folklore. Although Satomori won the war, strange events began to unfold. First, the traitor who betrayed Masakado, Kikyo-mai, suddenly died a mysterious and violent death. Then came alarming news from the soldiers guarding Masakado's body. His corpse had mysteriously vanished without a trace. When Satomori and Hidesato rushed to inspect Masakado's severed head displayed for public warning, the head suddenly opened its eyes and let out a chilling laugh aimed directly at the two men. Soldiers who had participated in the campaign began falling ill for no apparent reason. Alarmed by these ominous events, Satomori ordered Masakado's head to be swiftly transported to Kyoto to present it to Emperor Sutoku. Following his suggestion, the head was hung prominently near the Royal Proclamation Board in Kyoto's Eastern Market, serving as a grim warning to those who might dare defy the emperor. This marked the first recorded instance in Japanese history of a severed head being displayed publicly as a deterrent. A few days after Masakado's head was displayed, something extraordinary occurred. On a bustling day with crowds of passersby, the severed head suddenly let out a thunderous roar. It then rose into the air and flew eastward toward the Bundor region, leaving the stunned crowd in shock. According to legend, the head was seeking to reunite with its body, which lay in the eastern lands. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like by pressing the like button, and if you haven't subscribed yet, consider hitting that subscribe button. It's completely free. Eventually, Masakado's head fell near Torigoe in Musashi Province. Local officials, in an effort to pacify his restless spirit, built a shrine known as Masakado Kobazuka. Today, this mound remains a well-known site in Otemachi, Chiyoda Ward, Tokyo. The strange phenomena and mysterious events surrounding Masakado's defiance and death earned him the title of one of Japan's 4 great Onryo, demonstrating the fearsome power of vengeful spirits. Throughout history, numerous attempts to relocate or destroy Masakado's burial mound have reportedly resulted in mysterious incidents or disasters, such as earthquakes and outbreaks of illness. This has imbued the site with an air of mystery and an almost untouchable status. Whether you believe it or not, Masakado's mound has stood as a silent witness to 1,000 years of history and legend. It is not merely a grave, but a symbol of humanity's respect of history, vengeful spirits, and the unknown. So, what do you think? Could the vengeful spirit of Taira no Masakado truly exist? In ancient Japan, there was a legend. Whenever thunder roared across the sky, a mysterious yokai would appear. It would ride lightning down to the earth in an instant, bringing chaos wherever it landed. They say this yokai had a master, the god of thunder. But this thunder god wasn't a typical deity like Raiju. He was one of the 4 great Onryo, Japan's most feared vengeful spirits in history. The yokai is known as Raiju, the thunder beast, and its master, the one still feared to this day, Sugawara no Michizane. Raiju is one of the most famous and feared supernatural creatures in Japanese folklore. It is a yokai said to be formed from lightning, taking the shape of an animal. With long, sharp claws and a fierce, terrifying face. Raiju is often described as resembling a wolf, a dog, or even a cat. Some believe it is a beast made up of features from different animals. Whenever thunder roars, Raiju rides the lightning and descends to earth, causing destruction wherever it lands. In ancient Japan, buildings were made of wood and closely packed together. So even a single lightning strike could lead to massive damage and deadly fires. That's why Raiju was feared as a violent and dangerous yokai. According to Koshiyawa, a collection of strange tales by Matsura Seizon, there was once a Raiju that fell from the sky with a lightning strike in Akita, Dewa Province. But at the time, the region was suffering from a famine, and the creature was captured, cooked, and eaten. Perhaps the greatest enemy of a yokai is a starving human. Another well-known story is about the famous samurai Tachibana Dosetsu from Japan's Sengoku period, who is said to have slain a Raiju in his youth. One stormy night, he was sheltering under a tree when lightning suddenly struck toward him. Dosetsu quickly drew his sword and struck the lightning itself. When the smoke cleared, a dead Raiju lay at his feet. From that day on, he named his sword Raikiri, meaning lightning cutter. The blade is still preserved today in the Tachibana Museum. In Nishiboji Temple, located in Mishima District of Niigata Prefecture, there's a preserved mummy that is said to be a Raiju. The origin of this mummy is unknown. It measures about 35 centimeters long and resembles a cat, baring its teeth in a menacing pose. Yokai researcher Tada Katsumi believes that the mummy was originally a cat, but its true identity remains unverified to this day. In ancient times, people believed that Raiju were messengers sent by the thunder god. It was said that small Raiju would crawl into human belly buttons to hide from their master's rage. This gave rise to a popular Japanese superstition. When you hear thunder, you should cover your belly button. In Shinto and Japanese folk beliefs, the thunder god is a deity who rules over lightning and thunder. However, the master Raiju was not a traditional thunder god. He was one of the four great Onryo of ancient Japan, Sugawara no Michizane. Sugawara no Michizane was a renowned scholar and politician during the Heian period. He was especially skilled in Chinese poetry and was later worshipped as the god of learning. Shrines dedicated to him, known as Tenmarngu, can be found all over Japan. During exam season, many students visit Tenmarngu shrines to pray for success and purchase a small cloth charm called omamori to bring good luck on their tests. Sugawara no Michizane was a genius during his lifetime. He entered government service at a young age and quickly earned the favor of Emperor Wuda. In just a few years, he was promoted to a high-ranking position, Wudaijin, or Minister of the Right. At the time, most high-ranking officials in the imperial court came from the Fujiwara clan, one of the dominant aristocratic families. Michizane, on the other hand, came from a scholarly family with an uncommon surname. His rapid rise to power stirred resentment among the Fujiwara officials. They saw him as a threat and began plotting against him in secret. Their chance finally came when Emperor Wuda unexpectedly abdicated the throne and passed it on to Emperor Daigo. At first, Emperor Daigo also trusted Sugawara no Michizane. However, Fujiwara no Tokihira began his schemes. He secretly allied with officials who were at odds with Michizane and began spreading rumors to Emperor Daigo, falsely accusing Michizane of plotting rebellion. They claimed Michizane had conspired with Emperor Wuda to elevate Daigo's younger brother, Prince Saisei, to the throne. The young Emperor Daigo was terrified and, in his panic, handed full authority over to Tokihira for dealing with Michizane. Unaware of his alleged crime, Michizane was arrested overnight by the Imperial Guard, stripped of his rank, and exiled to Darzaifu in Kyushu. His entire family was forbidden to accompany him, and they were forcibly expelled from the capital, left to wander, their fate unknown. While exiled in Darzaifu, Michizane never understood what grave crime he had committed to deserve such a fate. Separated from his family, who were scattered across the land, he died in despair at the age of 59 in Darzaifu. After Michizane's death, his restless spirit traveled to Onryo Temple in Mount Hiei. An old monk on the mountain encountered him, and Michizane revealed that he would return to Heian-kyo to seek revenge. He told the monk not to stand in his way. Upon seeing Michizane's spirit, the monk instantly knew he had transformed into an Onryo. From that day on, strange omens began to appear in Heian-kyo. The Fuso Ryaki record a series of disastrous phenomena. Earthquakes, lightning strikes, droughts, and plagues, all happening one after another. People believe these unusual events, especially the frequent lightning storms, were signs of Michizane's spirit returning to Heian-kyo to take revenge. It was said that Michizane, wronged and dying in anger, had become the thunder god, striking with lightning to right the injustices of the world. And the Raiju, the thunder beast, was his messenger, sent to punish the wicked. One day, during a court assembly, a bolt of lightning suddenly struck from the sky, hitting the roof of the Seiyoden in the imperial palace with a deafening roar. Emperor Daigo and all the courtiers were thrown into panic. Many of them cried out in horror, "Michizane has returned. Michizane is here for revenge." From that point on, the officials who had taken part in framing Sugawara no Michizane began to suffer one by one. Some were struck dead by lightning while traveling. Others died suddenly for no reason, their deaths gruesome and terrifying. These strange events sparked widespread fear in the court. Even a mastermind, Fujiwara no Tokihira, was overwhelmed with dread. Thunderstorms continued to rage through Heian-kyo, and the fear eventually broke Tokihira's spirit. He fell ill and died a year later. Just when everyone thought that Sugawara no Michizane's vengeance had ended with the death of Fujiwara no Tokihira, yet another strange event occurred. 10 years later, Michizane's wrath resurfaced again. Prince Yasukura, son of Emperor Daigo and Tokihira's sister, also Tokihira's chosen successor to the throne, died suddenly at the young age of 21. At the time, the sky was once again filled with thunder day after day, which the people believed to be undeniable proof of Michizane's vengeful spirit returning once more. The court finally realized how serious the situation had become. A grand purification ritual called Ohare was held in front of the Kenrei Gate inside the imperial palace to appease his spirit. At the same time, 2 imperial decrees were issued, one to restore Michizane's title of Minister of the Right, and another to officially nullify his exile. However, his anger had not been soothed. 2 years later, Prince Yasukura's only son, Prince Korizane, died prematurely at the age of 5. With that, Yasukura's bloodline came to a complete end. Emperor Daigo, devastated by all these losses, fell ill. His health deteriorated day by day, until he finally passed away on his imperial bed. After his death, Emperor Sutoku ascended the throne. This emperor, interestingly, had a deep connection to another famous great Onryo, Taira no Masakado. Emperor Sutoku ordered the construction of a Tenmargu shrine to enshrine Sugawara no Michizane, and posthumously honored him as the god of learning and the god of thunder. Because of this, Michizane's spirit was finally at peace. The once terrifying Onryo, who had plunged Mid-Heian Kyoto into fear for nearly a century, was no longer seen as a monster, but revered as a deity. Today, countless students visit Tenmargu shrines every year, praying for academic success and passing exams. And the spirit they worship is the very same thunder god who once returned to seek vengeance. Sometimes, the line between a god and a yokai is thinner than we think. In Japanese folklore, yurei are basically the Japanese version of ghosts, very similar to spirits in Western traditions. The word yurei comes from 2 kanji, yu, meaning faint or dim, and rei, meaning spirit or soul. They're also known by other names like Borei or Shiryo. Sometimes, They're even grouped under broader terms like yokai or obarke, which refer to all kinds of supernatural beings. Like ghosts in the West, yurei are believed to be souls who couldn't pass on peacefully after death. All Japanese ghosts are called yurei, and there are several types within this classification. Among them, the most feared are the Onryo, spirits of those who died with deep resentment or anger. These vengeful spirits were believed to cause disasters, illness, and political turmoil, even after death. However, within the Onryo legends, there is an even more unique type, the Goryo. Goryo are not just angry spirits. They were once noble figures or high-ranking officials who died tragically, often as victims of false accusations, exile, or political betrayal. Due to their social status and the perceived injustice of their deaths, people believe that the wrath of these spirits could bring large-scale calamities, such as plagues, famines, or even earthquakes. Since ghosts could not be destroyed, the only way to end their vengeful anger was to transform them into peaceful and benevolent spirits. To prevent such disasters, communities would build shrines and hold special rituals, often with the help of priests and onmyoji, to appease the Goryo and turn them from dangerous spirits into protective deities. This practice became known as Goryo Shinko, the belief in and worship of Goryo. An early figure often seen as the origin of Goryo Shinko is Fujiwara no Hirotsugu. He's said to be the first officially recorded case in Japanese history involving this belief. Fujiwara no Hirotsugu was a nobleman during the Nara period. Branded a traitor amid political turmoil, he was exiled and eventually executed in Dazaifu. But soon after his death, a series of disasters and strange occurrences struck the capital. People began to suspect that Hirotsugu had returned as an Onryo, seeking revenge against the state. In response, the imperial court performed the first official Goryo pacification ritual, hoping to appease his angry spirit and transform him into a guardian deity. This marked the formal beginning of Goryo Shinko, which would go on to become a lasting and unique spiritual tradition in Japan. Although Fujiwara no Hirotsugu isn't one of the four great Onryo, his life story is filled with drama and mystery. After the case of Fujiwara no Hirotsugu, one of the most memorable and representative Goryo legends was that of Prince Sawara. So, who exactly was Prince Sawara? He was one of Japan's famous four great Onryo. Toward the end of the Nara period, power struggles within the imperial family grew increasingly intense. Prince Sawara was the second son of Emperor Konin and the younger brother of Emperor Kanmu. He had been appointed crown prince and was once destined to become the next emperor. But fate was not kind to this noble-born prince. Shortly after Emperor Kanmu ascended the throne, the court was shaken by a major political incident. The assassination of Fujiwara no Tanetsugu, a top official serving in Dazaifu. During the investigation, suspicion unexpectedly fell on Prince Sawara. Some believed he had conspired with nobles opposed to Emperor Kanmu in a plot to seize the throne. Though there was no solid evidence, Prince Sawara was stripped of his title overnight, demoted to commoner status, and exiled to Dazaifu in Kyushu. On the long journey into exile, he was forced to walk barefoot, enduring humiliation, hunger, and overwhelming injustice. Eventually, Prince Sawara chose to protest through a hunger strike and died in bitter grief before reaching his destination. However, things didn't end there. After Prince Sawara's death, a series of strange disasters and ominous events struck the capital one after another. The construction of Emperor Kanmu's new capital, Nagaoka-kyo, was plagued by constant setbacks, accidents, floods, and repeated misfortunes. The empress died young. The crown prince passed away, and a dark shadow loomed over the imperial family. Even Emperor Kanmu himself was haunted by nightmares of evil spirits, his mind tormented and restless. Whispers began to spread throughout the court and among the people. Could these disasters be the work of Prince Sawara's vengeful spirit? Eventually, even Emperor Kanmu began to waver. He started to wonder, had he wrongly condemned his own brother and brought divine punishment upon himself? In an effort to calm the restless spirit and end the calamities, the court officially restored Prince Sawara's royal title and reburied his remains with full honors befitting a member of the imperial family. A Goryo shrine was established in Kyoto specifically to enshrine Prince Sawara, and purification rituals were held to appease his soul. This is believed to be the origin of the Kami Goryo Shrine and Shimo Goryo Shrine. But perhaps the most dramatic event of all was the relocation of the capital itself. Because of the never-ending misfortunes in Nagaoka-kyo, Emperor Kanmu ultimately abandoned the entire city and moved the imperial capital to what is now Kyoto, Heian-kyo. This was not just a political decision. It was also a spiritual attempt to escape the curse of a vengeful spirit. The name Heian, meaning peace and tranquility, reflected the emperor's deep longing for safety and harmony. From that point on, Prince Sawara became one of the most iconic figures in Goryo Shinko. His tragic story came to symbolize the souls of noblemen crushed by injustice. Souls that, even in death, could strike back at the centers of power. Through him, Onryo were no longer just characters from folklore. They became a political reality the imperial court could no longer ignore. The four great Onryo, Sugawara no Michizane, Taira no Masakado, Emperor Sutoku, and Prince Sawara, are among the most famous tragic figures in Japanese history. Each met their end through political strife, false accusations, or betrayal, and each was believed to return as a vengeful spirit with the power to curse the nation. Over time, their stories moved beyond myth and legend to become part of Japan's cultural fabric, deeply influencing Goryo Shinko, shaping historical narratives, and even altering the course of society itself. What we witness is not just tragedy, but a powerful symbol of how history, culture, belief, and fate are deeply intertwined. The Tengu is one of the most renowned yokai in Japan, with a wide variety of types, including the small Tengu, crow Tengu, leaf Tengu, and female Tengu, among others. The most powerful of the Tengu is known as the Great Tengu, whose strength makes him one of the three great yokai in Japan. It is said that one of the Great Tengu was transformed from Emperor Sutoku. Tengu are creatures from Japanese folklore, often believed to be yokai, supernatural beings or spirits. Typically, Tengu are depicted with red faces and long noses. Some Tengu have bird-like wings on their backs, but regardless of whether they have wings, they are generally able to fly. Tengu usually wear attire similar to Yamabushi, Japanese ascetic monks, and they often carry items such as a shakujo, a sword, or a feather fan. Sometimes, they are depicted with a military strategy book called the Tiger Scroll. Additionally, they possess a cloak that grants invisibility, allowing them to vanish at will. Tengu are characterized by an overbearing and arrogant demeanor. They usually reside deep within forests, places that ordinary people dare not approach. The earliest record of Tengu in Japan is found in the Nihon Shoki. It describes a monk hearing strange noises in the sky, followed by something swiftly flying overhead like a shooting star. The term Tengu was first used in the text to describe what the monk saw, and people at the time imagined it to have the appearance of a hawk. During the Heian period, the Kanjaka Monogatari further documented that Tengu could transform into the images of Buddha, monks, and saints, or possess human beings. The Classic of Mountains and Seas, a pre-Qin ancient Chinese book, carries tales about mythical creatures such as Tengu, also known as Tiango in China. However, the depiction of Tengu in this book significantly differs from its Japanese counterpart. Unlike the humanoid Tengu of Japan, the Chinese Tengu is portrayed as a creature resembling a dog. The most famous narrative about Tengu in the Classic of Mountains and Seas is its act of devouring the sun. This story has given rise to the popular Chinese phrase Tiango eating the sun, which is used to describe a solar eclipse. In Japan, Tengu were also known as Tenko due to their appearance. Up until the Heian period, the image of Japanese Tengu resembled that described in the Classic of Mountains and Seas. In the late medieval period, the Tengu's image shifted from that of a hawk to the long-nosed Tengu. The long nose symbolized an arrogant and haughty attitude, as Tengu were considered embodiments of arrogance. Their long noses were seen as a symbol of this arrogance. At that time, saying, "I want to become a Tengu," implied that one had become proud. From the medieval period onward, Tengu were called great demons and the like because they had fallen into the Tengu path. As a result, they were considered immortal and capable of displaying various skills like immortals. They attempted to obstruct Buddhism, and some were even regarded as powerful yokai capable of shaking the nation. Within the hierarchy of Tengu, there are different ranks, with the highest being the Dai Tengu, or known as the Great Tengu. Other Tengu, such as Kotengu, Karasu Tengu, Konoha Tengu, and Ana Tengu, are considered to be the subordinates or workers of the Dai Tengu. Emperor Sutoku was originally the 75th emperor of Japan. He ascended the throne at the age of 5 and was forced to abdicate at 23 by his nominal father, Emperor Toba. The throne then passed to Emperor Kono, the son of Emperor Toba and Tomomono. After Emperor Kono's death, the throne was taken by Emperor Go-Shirakawa, shattering Sutoku's dream of regaining power once again. Displeased with Emperor Toba, Emperor Sutoku allied with Minister Fujiwara no Yorinaga and others to initiate the Hagen Rebellion. After their defeat, Sutoku was exiled to Sanuki. In exile, he repeatedly expressed remorse to the court, but his fervent appeals failed to move Emperor Go-Shirakawa and his supporters. Sutoku spent a considerable amount of time transcribing 5 volumes of the Mahayana Sutras. Some say he wrote them in his own blood and sent them to Kyoto, only to be met with rejection. Deeply humiliated, Emperor Sutoku was filled with resentment. He bit his finger and wrote on the returned sutras, "I vow to become the great demon king of Japan, to disrupt the nation, to make commoners into emperors and emperors into commoners." After that, he refused food and water, succumbing to his anger and dying in anguish. Upon his death, Emperor Sutoku transformed into the fearsome Great Tengu, bringing calamities to Kyoto. The Great Fire of Ongan nearly burned down a third of the city. Influential figures like Rokujin and Kujo-in, close to Emperor Go-Shirakawa, died one after another, and the Onryo warrior monks stormed the imperial palace with demands. These events were all attributed to the vengeful spirit of Emperor Sutoku. More significantly, a few years later, the Taira and Minamoto clans engaged in a fierce power struggle. For the next several centuries, the samurai class, through the shogunate, became the de facto rulers, while the imperial family was reduced to political puppets. It seemed that Emperor Sutoku's curse to make commoners into emperors and emperors into commoners had truly come to pass. The Great Tengu, believed to be the transformed spirit of Emperor Sutoku, is hailed as one of the three great yokai in Japanese folklore. Emperor Sutoku himself, along with Sugawara no Michizane, Taira no Masakado, and Prince Sawara, is known as one of the four great vengeful spirits of ancient Japan. The appearance of the Great Tengu is usually accompanied by catastrophic disasters, symbolizing the downfall of the nation. After a series of calamities, people feared the Great Tengu, believed to be the transformed spirit of Emperor Sutoku. To appease his wrath, the court posthumously conferred a title upon him. However, historical records suggest that Emperor Sutoku continued to lead other Tengu to wreak havoc on the human world. It wasn't until 1868, during Emperor Meiji's enthronement ceremony, that an envoy was sent to Sanuki to bring Emperor Sutoku's spirit back to Kyoto and enshrine it at the site of the former Shiramane shrine. This finally pacified his vengeful spirit. Today, Emperor Sutoku is revered as a protective deity of Shikoku. The story of the Great Tengu is a significant element of Japanese culture, representing more than just a mythical creature. It serves as a profound reflection on power, arrogance, and revenge. Numerous works featuring Tengu continue to emerge, and this legendary figure, existing between god and demon, will be passed down through generations. Let's hope the Tengu himself doesn't appear, for his presence inevitably brings disaster. If you enjoy my channel, please help by hitting the subscribe button and turning on the notification bell so you won't miss my upcoming videos. Thank you for watching until the end, and I'll see you next time.